Me like that. What's that? Turn your mic on, Mr. Mike. Little Mike, step up to the mic, please. Turn on Mikhail Gorbachev. Ooh, I like your forehead. What's that, jam? Let me lick it. Mmm. No one remembers old Mikhail. Mikhail. That's what I call him. Because we was close. And so it was Kyle and Mikhail. So, the Gorbachevskis. That's what they also called us. Because I was the forward, and I was the right forward, he was the left forward on the hockey team. So, Russia. They're all about that shit. Fucking. And then America cheated and beat us into obscurity. So you never really heard our names, again, until I was on Ink Master and he was, president of the United States. Excuse me, of Soviet Union. Russia, Mother Russia. Drink vodka. Eat potato from sack. Why is it so silent? I'm gonna do this one by
Hello?
myself. We're recording, right? So
Hello?
we're good. Oh, hey, what's up, girl?
Well,
You sounded like my wife, so I was figuring that you wasn't there. I was like, see, I was about to
damn,
do
I
this
can't figure out
solo.
how to get it going.
Whoa, yeah, I don't know what's going on with that microphone shit. What do we got going? I don't know. I think you had to step up to the mic, but I think you're there now.
How's it going?
There you go. Testing, testicles. Let's work some sound out. Let's hear you guys. What, we got two of you? Candy says it's thumbs up.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello. All right, here's just one brief instruction on it. Anytime you talk, lean into the mic. Talking with your hands. Oh, you're on a phone? No, they just told me it was two of them on one or something.
She's sitting there.
Okay, right on. Well, if you're leaning in, just make sure you lean into the mic,
Okay, perfect.
because audio and shit. And those podcast people, they like to hear that shit. They like to hear your life. They loved it when James Vaughn was washing his ass in a shower when we were doing the podcast.
I'm sure that they did.
You know that sound, right? You're taking a shower. There's a couple of sounds that you're just like, that's distinctive. Like, I know it's either an armpit or an asshole. That's what he is washing. And after three of them, you're like, and then you're staying on one a little longer than the other. It's probably the dirtiest.
Oh, damn.
All right. Anyways, that's how I'm feeling today. How you kids doing?
Good. How's it going?
Fucking so excited. I seriously, I don't know. I'm having fun. Getting over some of my depression and getting on with the actual tattooing part where you don't have to deal with the client anymore because you already got an idea what to draw. What are you doing? You getting ready for some shows?
Yes. Our next one will be Cleveland, and then after Cleveland, we have Chicago.
Yeah. I think we're headed out to Pittsburgh right now.
Ooh, that'd be cool. I've never been out to Pittsburgh for a show yet.
No? Right on. I mean, good people, the same type from Philly, except they're a little more laid back.
Hmm.
It's like the laid back people from Philly probably come from Pittsburgh. Well, I don't know. That's laid back compared to Philly people. So, there's a scale.
Man, Candy wanted to go to Philly just because she loves the way the people interact there.
Wait, you guys weren't in Philly?
Huh?
You guys weren't in Philly this year?
No, we were in Philly, but Candace has
Okay.
always said she wants to move to Philly.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ. That's a
Yeah,
big move, bruh.
I
From
don't think
Sagnasty.
I
You're
don't
not
think I
even in
could.
Sagnasty.
We're in a little farm town, probably about 40 minutes from there.
Okay, yeah. So, and then you're going to jump right into the thick. You go to Saginaw first.
Yeah,
See
I
if you
don't think I don't think I could operate a vehicle in Philly. It's too crazy. I wouldn't
Do you
want to
guys
drive.
only fly in when you come in?
No, we've driven in most of the time, but I think we flew in the last 2 years, and I've preferred that the most. You don't have to
Good.
worry about where the hell you're parking.
Right. Yeah. And then you gotta leave it there and just trust that it's gonna be safe. You just gotta hope that the Eagles don't win a football game or something like that, which I guess now is good because it's over. But that's before the football. And if they win, then you're like, fuck, man, 50-50 whether I got a car when I come back.
The year that they won, we were in Philly because I believe that's the year that Shannon and Troy had their wedding.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
they were having their little reception party, and Candace wanted something to go with her outfit. So
Mhm.
we were on the way there. We went to a Target just trying to find what we needed real quick, and she wanted to try it on in the changing room, and the lady was like, "No, you can't go in the changing rooms. They destroyed the whole store." And we said, "Well, what are you talking about?" And they said, "Well, they shit and pissed all over the changing rooms and in the streets and all over, basically." And so we decided just to try it on in the aisleway, because if they didn't care that they were shitting in the stalls, then they shouldn't care that we were trying on a dress in the aisle. So we did our
Welcome to
thing,
Philly.
and we left, and nobody said nothing. So
How did they explain it to you that they had shit and piss in the
exactly
dressing
the same
rooms?
way I explained it to you.
They said they shit and piss in the fucking changing rooms. You guys really
Yeah,
want
the
to use them?
lady
That's what they
looked
said.
at us. She said, "Oh, honey, you don't want to go in there. They done shit and pissed all over."
Oh, awesome.
So we said, "Okay."
And this is where Candace, your wife, wants to move to.
Yes, our
From
type of people.
the sleepy country town that you're in outside of Saginaw, which is the biggest city around, and not that big a city, but not that small. Ain't trying to make fun of no Saginaw, people. They try, you guys try. But let's get to some point, man. Because what are we just chitting chatting here? Welcome to Straight to the Point, completely off topic. Your host Kyle Dunbar and our good friend and guest today, Cody Reed and Candace Reed. Cody and Candace Reed. Good Lord.
That's us.
Hello.
I don't know. Do I try that again? Welcome to Straight to the Point, completely off topic with me. And this is our guests today, are Cody and Candace Reed. I don't know if I did that right. We'll see what Candy works out of it.
Sounds good.
She does match. I'm a little slow. Don't be scared to talk over me. I will shut up. That's my job. I'm a host. I should shut up. Also, it goes against every instinct I have to shut up. So understand that it might be tough, but feel free to talk over me, because otherwise I'll run over top of you,
Yes.
God bless you.
Understandable and same.
And same? Right on.
We're today. We're such good friends.
Yeah, we're not scared to talk over top of each other.
Exactly.
Then we always feel heard, right? That's what you really want in a friend.
Honestly.
Unless they never look at you when you're talking, and then you don't feel heard.
Okay. Them assholes. Well, Cody, Candace, we've known each other for a long time. And I've known that Cody, especially, you're a fantastic couple. We love you guys on the road and all. But Cody, we've known that you are a phenomenal portrait artist, tattoo artist, color portrait artist. I've seen you whip these things out with such beautiful airbrushed looking softness. And it seems like they're in between cigarette breaks. You're like, yeah, I did 7 today. 7 portraits. You're one of the reasons people like myself say, you know what, maybe portraits aren't really my thing. I don't have the love like some people do. What is the percentage of portraits that you do in your work?
I would say probably a good 60-40.
Okay. I thought it might be 80%.
I post about 80%. Like on my social, I don't know. When I first started off tattooing, I was always told that on your social medias, you post what you want to do more of. So even though I'm doing tattoos of all kinds of other shit, not that I don't like them doing the tattoos of it and stuff. If I
But if
want to
you,
do more portraits, more horror portraits, stuff like that, that's why I post more of, just so that way I can keep that cycle going of just getting more of them.
you feed the monster,
Yes.
train the beast. It's a genius thing that I think young kids and the old timers actually can learn from, to be honest. You're like, we used to put out so much stuff. There was the idea in the industry that you're like, you got to be able to do everything. And you're like, well,
Well,
if you can do everything, you're not good at one.
I just look at it like when I started tattooing, it was pretty much just like a street shop, and I did walk-ins all day. Like that's how I did my tattooing mostly. So I've done damn near every type of style. I just have always wanted to be known for. Like I wanted to be like Nico Hurtado, you know what I mean, or like Paul Acker. Like I wanted to be known for my portraits. So that's always just been my goal, I guess, was just to be recognized for the portraits I've done. And
That,
I enjoy doing all kinds of stuff. And it's always funny because I'll do like a new school tattoo or like a neo trad tattoo at the conventions, and everybody always acts so like shocked or surprised, like, oh wow, you're doing that. I can't believe you do stuff like that, or I didn't know you could do stuff like that, or whatever. They always assume that because you do something, you are lacking somewhere else, or you don't even want to step foot in
attempt
that
it.
territory. And I don't know. I have fun doing a lot of stuff, just as long as it's cool.
What territory you got mapped out now? What's on the horizon?
I don't know. I want to get into doing even more horror portraits. I'd like to start doing real large scale stuff. Like you see those, like somebody dedicates a whole arm to like one portrait, and it's like hella zoomed in, where you got this huge eye and it's super detailed. I don't know. I just want to do cool, fun stuff. I
Right
want
on.
to start booking for like tattoo conventions. I would like to do like, I don't know, like a 3-day weekend, even though I hear from everybody that it sucks working on the same piece all 3 days. I
I
don't know. I
watched
just
Nico do it in Philly.
yeah, man. I
Right?
walked by and seen him working on that every day, and I just thought, it'd be cool. I would want to do probably damn near try to do a full arm just to have
Mm-hmm.
real cool scale wise, But
It's a
I
lot
don't
of work for a
know.
weekend.
Yeah, I don't really know how to. I haven't sat down and figured out how to map out the math to make sure that's going to be worth it, or to make sure that
Right.
I have somebody who's even dedicated to put in that much hard labor themselves, just sitting to get a tattoo that long.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And to set aside that chunk of change because now they're going to buy you for 3 days and full days at that for the most.
Yeah,
So that goes up.
exactly.
What's help us figure out where we can book up with you at though, and where can we follow along with your work?
Basically, I do all my bookings from my website, blackflameritual.com. And if you want to set up a tattoo convention appointment or appointment just at my studio, it's all done at that website. And you just go to the top corner, I believe, and click on appointment application. And once you do that, it pulls up a whole form that you fill out. You submit. I think your initial submission, you get to send in one photo, and obviously you send that in, and then once we correspond, you send more, and we talk about
Hmm.
your tattoo design. And then my Instagram is Cody Reed Tattoo. If you look up Cody Reed Tattoos, you'll pull up a different Cody Reed tattoo artist that
Oh,
is
really?
like damn near the same age. He does really cool tattoos, and it's funny because me and him do have to correspond just because people do get confused.
Oh, wow.
And we've had to like send each other deposits that were meant for each other. But anyhow, it's funny because
No
we're
shit.
like, yeah, damn near the same age and everything. But I think he's in like North Carolina or somewhere like that. But cool dude. So anyhow, mine's Cody Reed Tattoo, no S.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So you got no S. I've heard that about you. Need to do more squats, brother. Get some S. Well, good. I mean, you've had a passion for portraits and other type tattooing for some time. I know that you've done every style of tattoo, but let's go back in time a little bit. Um, because I've also heard you mention, and I kind of want to explore the day. I think I know what I might have been going through, but we met in a prior life, right? We met, not in a prior life, of course, but when you weren't tattooing and I owned a shop.
Mm-hmm.
You came through and you wanted to get a job, was it?
Yeah, I think I was looking for a tattoo apprenticeship.
How bad did I treat you?
Not really too bad. I mean, I feel like,
Woo! Look,
yeah, I don't remember it being too bad. I remember going in and I had a portfolio, and at that time, um, I was with Candace and I think one of her girlfriends, and we were just kind of bopping around, and we were looking to get a tattoo somewhere. But I always figured that, fuck, if I'm gonna go into a tattoo shop, I'm gonna take my portfolio in with me because I wasn't
hmm
working anywhere, and I thought it'd be cool to be, you know. So anyhow, I took it in there, and I don't know if I showed somebody that was working at the front first, and then they had me come and show you or what, but you were tattooing on somebody, and I walked in and showed you the work, and you said, I don't know,
Complimented the work.
cool, man, good stuff. You didn't say go kill yourself or anything like that, which I believe you did when I met you in Minneapolis after I was tattooing.
because you were too good at that point.
Yeah, you're like, man, fuck you. I hate you. You can go and fuck off.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I missed out then. I missed out on the ground floor. I could have had you under my wing for a while. But then you probably just would have stabbed me in the back and then we wouldn't be talking now. I'm
No,
bullshitting.
I wouldn't say
I
that.
wasn't stabbed in the back. I always try to imagine that I was. There were times that I'd like to get on my violin and play some songs for myself about my lost tattoo shop, my former life. However, I'm glad to hear I wasn't such a dick. I went through different times through my career as how I approached people that wanted apprenticeships. And I used to always be really positive with them for a point, and then it soured a bit. And then eventually I almost was just being rude to them so that they would either build a fire to show me I was wrong
Well, I
or just
will
to get them
say,
out of the industry, early on if they couldn't face the adversity.
not to sound real stupid or nothing, but I will say that I went to school, and in my schooling, I went to a graphic design course, and they taught you how to approach like business in a way. So my portfolio that I put together was filled with, I don't know, what I thought was pretty impressive shit. Like I had several different paintings that I did, photographs
Mhm.
of them, like the scaling of them all, and different portrait drawings I did, and they were all of people that you could recognize when you saw them. So
Right.
I felt like I definitely took some time and put in thought of a serious portfolio that I would take around. So I would say maybe if you weren't straight up like this kid's a fuck off, maybe it was because my portfolio was a little bit more serious or thought out, put together.
Right.
So I could have approached you in a way that other people hadn't approached you in the past. But I don't know. I don't know who
Yeah.
the hell
Well,
else
no,
is
that's not wrong.
asking.
People would come up a lot of times and you would look at some trash that they had done, literally, right? And
Oh,
then
yeah, I've seen that. I've
yours
had to
was
turn
definitely not
people
that.
away too.
What's that?
So I've had to turn away a couple of people asking for apprenticeships and
It's
stuff like
coming
that.
full circle on you then. Yeah, they'll come up from the trailer park and usually you don't want anything to do with them once they have an excuse over the first thing that you critique on their work. Like this line
Exactly.
looks like it's blown out, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's a bad camera."
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly. Like, oh yeah, I had a fucking dull pencil that day or whatever the fuck.
yeah, yeah. That's no excuse ever. I don't think that was ever shown in your work. I imagine you came through with something pretty professional. Were you? Well, I don't want to edit out names. I guess I won't mention it. I also believe that there was a time when I was going through something. Man, managing a shop with several artists can be a fuck. And sometimes there are people inside of your house that are seemingly working against you, or straight up doing drugs in front of you, or running crew through there of some sort. And I think I might have thought that you were at a different affiliated with somebody that I no longer, that I was trying to get rid of at the time, you know. I think that's possible. Oh well, moving on. Boy, that's lame. All that. Fuck, we should just cut that right there. Welcome straight to the point, completely off topic. No, I'm kidding. Let's get to. I just talked with somebody recently about a black flame ritual, not the shop, your shop, Black Flame Ritual, north of Saginaw. There, what city?
Bay City.
Bay City. Okay. But it's an actual ritual, right? What the fuck is a black flame?
Black Flame, the actual Black Flame ritual, if you look it up, is the ritual you perform to call upon the devil.
Oh shit! I thought it was some peace shit.
Well, and then if you go like the Black Flame candle, it's obviously part of like a hocus pocus thing also.
I didn't know. Hocus Pocus, the movie?
Yeah, like they like the Black Flame candle, and that's what brings the witches back. That's like a side thing.
But the truth of the matter is, it really brings about Satan. Oh, don't take your kids to the Hocus Pocus. They're teaching them.
Because, when I first was like thinking of a name for the tattoo shop, I thought about the Black Flame Ritual, and then I looked at the Black Flame Ritual, and I was actually going to print it up and have it kind of like when you walked in the door, it was kind of printed on the wall, like the ritual, what you would need to do for the ritual, but that just kind of never came.
Because you're trying to get Satan straight up in that shop, huh?
I mean, that'd be nice.
Yeah. What's the nice part about Satan? You always have an occultish fascination. Am I wrong about that?
I would say that. I kind of believe, as far as like the whole Satanist type aspect, I believe in much more of the believe in yourself type thing. Like everyone is their own God in my thoughts. Like, if you want something, you have to do it for yourself. You have to push yourself. You have to believe in yourself. I believe that the devil is in you as a person. It's obviously what they've told you is the wrong parts of you that doesn't fit into the societal box or doesn't work the way that everybody wants it to work. So it's more to me of believe in yourself, push yourself. You can do it for you. And if that's what people say is the devil, then that's what it is.
Bobby Boucher, that's the devil. All right, yeah. I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot, really, right? Don't I? I think I do. As a brand new Christian, I still like it. How about that? Can Jesus and Satan be friends?
I mean, I would imagine so. I mean,
th-
Jesus is supposed to love everybody. The devil believes that. I mean, I guess it would depend as far as who wanted to take credit for what, I guess would be probably their major dividers, wouldn't you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of feel exactly as you said. Jesus, he's like super forgiving. Um, right, and he's very accepting, and he loves his enemy. But he, like his dad, maybe it's his dad that's all mad at him all the time. It's like, man, this Lucifer's leading you astray. You're hanging out with them kids again. You can't, you can't be hanging out with Lucifer and his demons. Damn it, Jesus! But Dad, I love everyone. They must be my friends.
Exactly.
I think I see a sitcom forming in my head where Jesus and Lucifer, I was trying to hang out, and because he's really interesting.
It was kind of like that, wasn't it? Like The Omen, it was like an angel and a devil, but they were like buddies. Always were buddies since like always. You have to look into
that. Yeah, I like the dichotomy. At times, we know that Satan and God converse. Like if you read the Bible, at least, depending on how much you throw into the Bible, you know how much faith you got in it. But if you got faith in the Bible, then you know that Satan and God converse, and sometimes they take wagers on your fucking life. they will kill like up to 16 of your kids to see if you will stop praising the man. Are you familiar with the story of Job?
No, I mean, I feel like I've heard side bits. Just I don't know the Job
Okay.
story.
It's what there's so many interesting stories. Do you mind if I regale you for a moment then? Just we
I
got to know
mean,
where this
you
conversation's going.
can tell me whatever you want.
Right on. It's my show. Do what I want. All right, you Satanists, listen to this shit. Satan's a bad guy. And the way we know is because he did mean stuff to Job. Of course, there's an irony here that God completely allowed it so that he could see how far his most loyal subject, Job, which is actually spelled J-O-B for job, but we pronounce it Job. No idea. They don't put fucking italics over
Meanwhile, he
that
could have been
O or
homing
nothing.
with and being like, "Yeah, push him. Let's see how it goes."
Yeah, I don't know. They're at like a gin rummy game and they're talking, and he's like, "Man, if you know you only got everybody loving you because you're like so super powerful and strong, but they would curse you in a heartbeat if you stopped blessing them." And he says, "No, I have such loyal, faithful followers, and I'm not being egotistical to say that. It's actually with the most humility, the godlike heavenly divinity humility that I say my followers will not curse my name." Someone like Job. Oh, yeah, Job. Oh, yeah, Job. He's such a good guy, man. That Job, he's a fucking guy like I love that guy. He would never curse my name, no matter what you could put him through. I'd wager on that. And then they stopped their gin rummy game and they bet like a fucking dollar. Not like a large amount either. You know what I mean? Like just a small amount enough to piss you off in the movie Trading Spaces when you're like, what? You sold somebody's life for a fucking dollar?
Mm,
Or maybe you haven't seen that movie. I'm
I don't
sorry.
know if
I
I've seen
digress. What's that?
I said I don't know if I've seen Trading Spaces for a dollar.
Oh, man. So that just proves how old I am. Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis, and her tits are out. Um, and a fine pair. I think she might have showed more tit in that than she did in most of her horror flicks.
That's how she's
So
still alive in horror. That's why.
because of her tits?
Well, back in those days, if your tits are out or you were fucking, you were dead.
Oh, but
That was
hers
the
weren't.
number one thing. That's how you knew the bitches were dying.
Huh.
The final
But
girls never had their titties out. They're always nice and like your American type chick.
yeah, well, her titties was way out in Trading Spaces, and she didn't die either.
Was there a killer on the loose?
I don't recall. I don't think so.
Anyhow, let's not get off point with what you were
Yeah,
saying.
we learned about pork bellies and things. I don't know. Stock market stuff. Anyways, anywho, uh yeah, like God and Satan like bet they wagered like a buck, and he said, okay, I'm going to take my blessings away from him and you can curse him how you feel. And so one of the first things Satan does is he like sends down a hailfire storm, like just fire brimstone bullshit on the guy's family, and like wipes out 13 of his kids. Pretty shitty. Then he takes out his crops and he takes out his livestock. He just starts decimating this guy's life. He then like gives him hives, right? Like a bunch of welts all over him, and strikes him. He gets like, I don't know, syphilis. I don't know. Shit gets bad for the kid. But he never says, fuck you, God. He always says, praise you. Until eventually Satan gives up and he's like, man, you're right. And that's when God, in his heavenly divinity, rewards Job. And he had like 16 kids get killed. So now he gets 32 kids and he gets 6 new wives and a bunch of new livestock. Story over.
Are you there?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you there?
Yes.
I was just long silence in that one.
See, the thing that makes me, I don't know, I literally think of Little Nicky. I feel like that's how easy most people are to push over the edge, to commit to do whatever the fuck they really want to do. You just need that two people behind you saying, "All right, man, you're good."
Right on. Yeah.
So
Yeah. You should go
I
ahead.
honestly, I
Jump.
just think of like the whole Little Nicky thing every time.
Right on. I don't know that the story of Job fits into any of that then. I just know that it seems to curse it. You know, it seems to show that God could be a fucking dick and he has a relationship with Satan in a fashion. And that's weird because you
But
think
see,
they would
that's
hate each
how it
other.
always needs to be. You always need the good and the bad, is how I feel. They always have that in any type of storytelling, you
Mhm.
know? So I feel like it's not, anything unusual that they would be working together, or obviously did work together at some point, and then it had just built and built and built, and now it's this side is this way, this side is that way, and I don't know. I don't know where the hell I'm going with that. You know what I'm saying? I feel
I
like
think I got an idea. And I think it's very similar to my own. It seems to just poke holes in the fabric of faith that would be around Christianity, and then gives me some kind of idea that your shop doesn't. It also exists as poking holes in the fabric of Christianity.
yeah, it's my shop. I mean, basically, what I want people to take away from coming to my shop and from meeting me and Kansas people is that we love everybody. We don't judge anybody. We believe in you doing what's best for yourself and continuing to make those positive outlooks in your own life and with yourself being the one to benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, if you benefit, do you also feel that that benefits the universe? This isn't benefit at everyone else's expense, is it?
no, I feel like if you feel good about yourself, you're going to put out good things in the world.
I follow, yeah. And
I
so
mean,
if people are enabled to feel good about themselves, then a more positive outlook would come.
yeah, look at the way, like, I don't know, they always say that these serial killers and these real bad people had terrible lives and terrible childhoods, so they grew up with their whole life having somebody tell them that they're worthless or felt worthless, and it just made them feel like that low type person to go out and make those acts because it wasn't going to have the same effect that somebody would have had being raised to believe that every life is meaningful and everything has a worth and has a place. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's all about, I don't know, same thing, the
I
good and the
I don't
bad.
think you're wrong. I follow. People need to be in its best. I would say that any religion is probably enabling that, and in its worst, any religion is fighting against that. Is actually impeding the positive outcome by trying to uphold the current status quo that might be shitty, like say slavery, that was upheld by many religious organizations as the status quo, but it was shitty. I mean,
Yeah.
not a good thing.
Nope. Man, you know what I'm really getting into?
What's that?
Aliens.
Uh-oh.
100%. I mean, not like anything like that just popped off recently, but just like, I don't know, more increasingly into my adulthood, I have just become more and more in thinking there's aliens. I want to know what the fuck's
Among
going
Us?
on. I don't know, I don't really know about the Among Us thing, but
Mhm.
um, okay, so the whole Roswell crash in the late 40s, how they put it in the paper and said that they had identified UFO crash landing. They had three alien bodies, blah, blah, blah. They put it in the paper, and then a day or two later, they took it out of the paper and said it wasn't that. And so I don't know if you get into alien stuff at all, but it's just
Mhm.
wild how you've seen a lot of reports around that same time up until about the 70s. And
Right.
around the 70s is the same time we stopped going to the moon. There's been nobody from USA on the moon since like the late 70s.
Ah, we
And
conquered it.
then
There was nothing to steal.
all the reports have all just been buried since then. I don't know. I feel like there was
Hmm.
this weird ass shit that popped off at one point, and there was some deals made. And then also in the COVID bill, did you know
Mm-hmm.
in there is a section about them having to disclose all their alien information to us this like by 2021? And that was also the same time that they like released their alien information that they have on whatever the fuck websites. So it's just wild, man.
What did
I've
we
been
find
really,
out? Did we find anything out?
dude, look him up. There's been all kinds of stuff. I'm almost too chicken shit
Ah,
to even get on the website myself to look through it, but I've
yeah.
talked to a bunch
Yeah,
of my
they're just
clients, And
They're
they
just
have
gonna fill up your
those wild
inbox.
stories, and
Mhm.
they have like those Hanger One files that are even on Netflix you can watch, and those are supposed to be like documentations from the government that they have are now released. So I don't
Okay.
know, I've just been going down those rabbit holes a bunch, looking at all that
Sounds
stuff.
dangerous.
Dude, it's wild. So it's almost like I want to
Uh-huh.
know. I want to know more. Like I would like to just know the ultimate truth on at least a little bit of some of the alien stuff. Like,
Well, we got Elon Musk here, right? And that fucker has been able to mobilize a group of motherfuckers leaving this planet and trying to set up somewhere else, right? That spirit, the same spirit that conquered the oceans, that traveled, to far lands, that same spirit exists here. Why wouldn't it exist somewhere in space?
oh
This
yeah, 100%.
is a
Like,
is a relatively unique planet, but not so unique that it isn't reoccurring outside of our solar system. So why wouldn't aliens be existing and trying to get here, and also possibly be further along or advanced than we are currently, so that they could?
exactly, dude. If you, I don't know. I know it sounds shitty to say, but if you don't believe
Mm.
that there's alien life out there, so be whatever, life on a different star, different planet, then you got to be living in like the smallest world mindset I've ever seen. So,
Well, yeah, for a long time we believed, like, the Earth was the center of the universe, and it wasn't even a sphere traveling through space and time, but instead just a great big mass that was covered with a blanket at night.
huh?
Yeah, like, a blanket with holes poked in it so the stars shine through.
Okay.
That's There was weird shit back in there. I don't know what they believed, I guess, really, but they
Like
didn't know
that.
shit. I know that they were dumb as fuck. You go back in
It's
time, you
like
start reading their shit.
angels being in heaven shit.
Wait, what heaven shit?
I said that's like those angels bowling in heaven shit is the thunderstorms.
Yeah. Yeah, we're dumb as fuck. As humans, we're dumb as fuck. So until we all start working together and try and figure some shit out and get some real knowledge, there was the illusion of knowledge, and that illusion of knowledge made people stupider and stupider. And for the longest time, um, to uphold the status quo, people have to maintain the illusion of knowledge, even though Galileo it can make calculations that prove that we're not the center of the earth, right? He can still be imprisoned by the church and 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 kept until he's pretty much dead.
Did you know that I guess they say that those aliens that were taken from the crash in Roswell, they hold those at the Vatican?
What?
Don't you
What the
think that's
fuck?
awfully funny?
It don't make no goddamn. You get now. That's just, it seems dumb, but okay, it's possible, I guess. But
Um,
so the
yeah,
Vatican's working with the U.S. government on some shit, and the U.S. government was like, "Yeah, we'll turn this over to you, Jesus peoples.
and I
Why don't you
also
take it
feel
out there in
believe
Italy land?"
that you have to get clearance from the Vatican to do
Who
um,
does?
space exploration.
Who does? Are you kidding me?
I don't know. Some fucking organization told me. That's what I told you. I just go through these like rabbit holes that I'm
It
like just.
sounds like a rabbit hole for sure. I mean, who the fuck am I to know? Here's my take on most all conspiracies. If it can't fucking affect me in the end, then fuck it and I don't care.
I
But
mean,
I'll
that's
listen
how
to
I
you and I'll
feel in the
entertain
most.
it. What's
Yeah,
that?
that's kind of how I feel in the most sense. But I'm just like
Mhm.
shit. I know that there's got to be aliens out there. Just give me a piece of the actual truth.
Well, there could also be, I mean, I'm also a devil's advocate, motherfucker. So, so I pull up my black flame a lot, and I pull the guy in to give me some, counsel. And if I were to devil's advocate the story in Roswell, reporters make mistakes all the fucking time. The army base might have been working on some weird ass shit. Something goes down as a UFO, unidentified flying object. The key to that is unidentified, and it wasn't identified. It doesn't make it a spacecraft necessarily, but it could be some astronauts or
Well,
some.
they claimed it was a weather balloon. If that helps your cause.
Well, that now I might get into cover up because maybe people are dying on this secret project that I don't want the KGB to be figuring out about or some shit, you know? And so I'm like, well, I can't be running this lead in the papers. This is national security, motherfuckers. Two of our pilots just went down, horribly mangled from, whatever gas we were using in this strange propulsion device. And now they look like aliens.
I
And we
mean,
don't want everybody to know.
yeah, that is entirely true. There was an awful lot of crashes around the same time around
Right.
that same time period. So I mean, I don't know, man. You'll just
We
have to.
give we give those guys a lot of money to try and explore shit in better ways to kill people. Or I guess it's to keep us safe. But either way, they get a lot of money for it. And I'm sure that they're
Hey,
using
man,
it in many
we
different
don't
aspects.
question it. Our American people don't question it as soon as somebody has a badge above them. You know what I mean? If you're not a regular civilian, we're just automatically gonna assume that you're right and are taught to take your word for whatever bullshit you tell us.
Well, I think humans itself. I see this guy do on brain games. He does a experiment where he gets down the end of an escalator in a mall and he just starts telling people some crazy ass fucking news. Crazy ass news. Like, we are currently invading China. What is your response? What's your reaction?
Oh
And
my
people,
God.
instead of pushing back on it, like, what the fuck? This is happening. People want to assume that it is true simply because of the air of authority that the person with the microphone and the
Yeah,
camera and the little placard that says channel whatever news,
yeah.
like m- the majority of people wouldn't push back on it and they would just respond as though it were the truth. Now, if you
That's
take
what I'm
that,
saying.
mhm,
That's what I'm saying about this little Nicky concept, man.
yeah, we all think that we're Obi-Wan, but we're actually all the stormtroopers. Is that
Well,
kind
I'm
of
looking,
it?
no, like I'm looking at it. Okay, little Nicky, it's the devil's son in disguise is the Pope of the church. Okay, and then he's got the other devil's son in disguise, and he's the mayor in the town. Okay, so the Pope is leading the church thing, and
Uh-huh.
he's like, man, what has God ever done for any of you? Has he ever put a Porsche in your driveway? Has he ever gave somebody I hate the herpes? And what about you, Mayor? Has the judge ever did anything for you? And he's like, no, I can't tell you a damn thing he's ever done for me. And he's like, we should just do whatever the hell we want and act like there's not even a God. So then they literally flip the whole city to be in hell on earth because they believe that there is no God because
Right.
this
But it's
leading
not it doesn't
guy.
make the city better.
No, it
No?
makes it worse so the actual devil can rise up and take over. But what I'm saying is I just feel like people just need that little bit of a push, and they're always so quick to jump on a rumor, jump on the bandwagon to tear somebody down, or to do any of that type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. But that's what I mean, we're more the stormtroopers than Obi-Wan. We're the
Yeah,
more like, these aren't the droids we're looking for, guys. Completely mistake. Oops.
yeah.
And yeah, and we all imagine though that we're actually saying these aren't the droids you're looking for. I don't know, my stupid opinion. I follow you. We've just made really lame culture references in the explanation of why we also are stupid, I guess. I mean, we're people, right? We know shit, kind of. We think we know shit. It
Yeah.
is now our illusion of knowledge that is threatening the intelligence of all around, and you're welcome for it. Or to our listening eyes, tell me this: how far have we gotten? It would be exciting for me. I do this show and I ride the coattails of Ink Master a bit. It would be exciting for me to have somebody on the show before Ink Master. And I know that there was a time that you were hoping to get on. Are you still chasing that?
It's not really that I'm chasing it. I guess I never really was chasing it. I always just kind of thought in my mindset that I could compete on the show and it would be cool enough to get on the show because that's how you are known in this day and age. Like that's how people get to know who you are is to get that mass, I don't know,
Yeah,
viewing of your work.
I know. I can't say you're wrong.
You
Hey,
know what I
tell
mean?
me this: how what was the furthest you've taken? Have they done interviews with you? Any Skypes, any stuff like that?
The furthest I've ever gotten with that was okay. So the one day I was just bullshitting, sitting around, and I think I just looked up online like sign up for Ink Master or something like that, and I pulled up this form and I filled out the first initial page or whatever, and then submitted that, and it was like fill out the form the rest of the way, click on this button or whatever. But I was busy at the time, so I only ever filled out the first form and sent in like one picture of myself and two pictures of tattoos I did. And that was it, and went about my day, you know. And then at some point they must have called me after that because I filled that out in September. In about October, I finally looked through my voicemails, but shame on me, I was not checking my voicemails. But I was also doing tattoo conventions at the time, and that's about a busy time for us, you know.
Yeah.
And so I checked my voicemails, and it was some lady came on and said, "Hello, Cody. This is blah 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 from Ink Master. Calling to talk to you." And then I was like, oh my God, you know, they called me, freaked out, thought it was super cool, tried calling them back a bunch of times. Nobody ever answered. I got back on there and filled out the form the rest of the way and submitted that. Nobody ever answered. So I assume probably being a month late of checking a voicemail, obviously I'd missed my chance for that whatever that round or whatever.
Right.
But since then I have filled out a form and haven't heard nothing. But I haven't really tried outside of filled out a form. So I think it'd be cool to go on. I think I would have enough mindset and knowledge of how I know how to do tattoos to get me through it a little bit, but I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't know anything about all the extra crazy shit. Like, dude, if I get on there and they had a bunch of coil tattoo machine parts sitting in front of me, like one of those episodes did. And they're like, cool, you got to build this and then you got to tattoo it. That I would just sit there and probably fucking cry because I don't know how to build that bitch. I'd have been fucking asking all my neighbors, like, hey, how do you do this? Hey, how do you do that?
Well, it wouldn't be the first time though. You're here. I would love to see it because instead of me riding their coattails, if you end up on that show now that you have been on my show first, or if anybody who's been on prior has not, oh, I've turned my video on. If they then I will have switched the tables, and now Ink Master will be riding my coattails. So get on, man. Work your ass off on that. I'm gonna pull whatever I can. Here's number one. You got that face that looks like Peter Steele, except you're alive. It's not
I mean,
rude, is
that's a
it?
plus, right? My grandpa always said, if you asked him how his day was, well, I'm upright and breathing, so it must be a good day.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Peter's not. You are. You win. You took over his whole persona, dude. You look like a 6 foot, 7 foot tall. Let's say it. You look like a 7 foot tall Jesus, immaculately dressed. The second coming of Jesus Christ with well manicured eyebrows
Somebody's
Yes,
coming.
and a satanic outlook.
and a satanic outlook and a Corvette. I'm just throwing in the Corvette. I think Jesus came back this time, he would have one. Not an EV either, you know. I think he'd be like, "Fuck this shit. We're all going to hell. This is the apocalypse." Maybe I'm wrong.
But yeah, I think I
Oh,
have you're so funny, bitch. She really is so funny.
you got a definite look, something that's easy to sell. You're not the graphic t-shirt guy. They've got an easy package because this is a hard thing for them. They don't, when I was the graphic t-shirt guy, they had every t-shirt, simple ass fucking t-shirt that I had to be shopped for and approved by 2 to 3 different heads, which isn't a lot necessarily because all they have to do is say yes. And then they go, but one of them was legal. So one of those heads cost, I don't know, 60 to $350 an hour. I don't know any lawyer that works for $60, but I'm guessing maybe it's a weird kind of billing thing that they could just be like, well, this paperwork, anyways, whatever. One of those heads cost them a lot of money just to say yes on this t-shirt, no on that t-shirt. And they made one mistake and they put me in a concert t-shirt from Parkway Drive, a band I had never heard of, but now have several followers and fans because they're like, oh, he likes Parkway Drive, but they just made a mistake.
Shit. Oh shit.
Well, anyways, so now they move on and they got to have like, you know, wife beater guy, and they got to have baseball tee guy, and they got to have bib overalls guy. I don't know any motherfucker wearing bib overalls tattooing, but suddenly that's an easier thing. So you already got this well-established, distinguished gentleman look, this air of Satan wafting behind you. So you're an easy package to sell, it seems. And then your tattoo ability, honestly, puts you in my experience, and it's early on in the seasons, and I know that competition is upped, but I believe that you have everything it takes to make it to the final, if not even win that bitch.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think it would
Aw.
definitely be a fun ride. I think I don't know. I definitely catch on quick too, so I know that they like to throw curveballs and weird shit. I don't know. I just think it would be a fun experience. I think it'd be terrifying to not have Candace with me to just kind of, I don't know, do shit with. She does all the conventions with me, anything new and exciting. She's always my bitch that's with me through the whole time.
You
So I
guys
think
have
it's
been together how long?
since like 14 years.
And since you were how old? Because you're both pretty young still.
About 17, 16.
That is a long fucking time. And she's your ride or die, huh?
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that'd be the hardest thing, and not being able to like see the kids and shit. But I think us as a whole group, would all know what was the benefits of it. You know, like we'd all get the idea of what was at stake and what was the payoff for doing it. And I think it'd just be a fun ride. You know.
Mhm. It's always fun to find out if you you know where you're at inside of some level of competition, because even if you don't win, what I find is it helped me set my horizons, and give me an idea of what I was really competing against in the field of tattooing.
Yeah.
So blah blah blah. Moving on.
Dude, it's weird. Not to add,
Mhm.
but on the form, when you fill out the form for the Ink Master thing, they literally have a section where it's like list off any and all tattoo awards. How in the hell are you supposed to start listing off any and all of your tattoo awards? You're supposed
Yeah.
Do people really sit there and type in like 300 tattoo awards?
Well, not everybody has won 300 tattoo awards, you conceited prick.
I'm just like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck are you supposed to
It's
do?
easy for some of us, okay?
Holy
No,
crap.
you're
Not to
I
say
love
I
it.
had that many
Well,
or
you just
anything,
have
but
to
I'm just like,
write.
how in the hell?
You just have to write too numerous to enumerate.
I think I just put multiple awards. I don't know what the fuck to put.
Just write in world renowned, bitch. You know what? Here, let me give you a little stupid story. I think I've said it on here before, but it's fun. This is me going on casting and what worked for me. You might be able to take something from it. I know the casting has changed, however, but I tried out 3 times. Have I told you this story before?
I don't know, but you can tell me again if you want.
I try out in New York City. We drive to New York City after we did a show in Massachusetts. So we leave a little bit early in Massachusetts, and we go to New York City, and I stand in line with a million fucking people in the middle of the city, spend $1 million on a fucking hotel room. And I sit down in front of them, and they're like, what makes you think you have what it takes to be Ink Master? And I think, bitch, what the fuck makes you think you have the right to ask me that shit? You ain't got a tattoo on you. Are you even out of high school? You look like you're 18 at best. And and I don't say that, of course. I stand there all pressed and proper in my shirt, the conservative, what I think people would want to see me as. And I say, well, I kind of tattoo, and I do tattoos. And she does, don't call us, we'll call you. And so I drive to Austin, Texas next, from New York City to Austin, Texas, because I'm a fucking whore. And I chase after that fucking dream, right? And I drive down to Austin because I know they just made a mistake last time. They just didn't see it. Let me show him again. I show him the same fucking person. It's a different person I'm talking to, but the same fucking thing happens, right? I had fun with people in the lobby. And then I changed who I was when I got into the interview. We were joking and cutting up a minute ago, you know, having fun like tattoo artists do. And then I put on my best face again, and I stood there and I said, "Well, I think you know, I've been tattooing like 20 years, and don't call us, we'll call you." 1 year later, Candy made me go to Chicago. I was pissed off. I didn't give a fuck. I'd barely filled out the form. I think I did have an 8x10. I might have a glossy or whatever they asked for, but I think I might have just shown up and said, "Hey, you got one on file," and I bet you guys got a camera. And they fucking loved it. All the attitude that I just had because I was now looking down on these people as opposed to looking at them as the prize. I don't know if that, I made myself of the highest value in the room when I went in the room, despite there being several other tattoo artists in there. I just decided that I was better than all of y'all motherfuckers and kept looking at the door so I could escape. And so that I could show my attention was more about leaving. And not that I was scared of being in here around all you motherfucking peasants, but more that I was just, you know, important shits out that door. And they fucking loved it. In less than a minute, the girl wrote down a thing to come back for a video interview. And now I knew what they wanted. So when I did the video interview, that there's that little guy lives in your head and he tells you what to say and what not to say, you know, so that you can still be accepted in social circumstances, you know. Like you don't want to get ostracized, motherfucker. Don't be talking about the, you know.
Yeah.
Fire that guy. I realized he wasn't doing me no good. I brought him along to New York and I brought him to Austin, and he didn't help me one bit. So in Chicago, I fired his ass, and I turned it on. Right, I realized what they wanted, and when we did the video interview, I just didn't hesitate to fucking tell them exactly anything that I thought. And as I saw they liked it, I just turned it up a little more. Right, like go into entertainment mode, like make them laugh. Anyways, in hindsight, what I realized they were always looking for is casting, is material. They they weren't looking for the best artist ever. They were looking for somebody that was going to be able to give them content that their editors could craft into a good storyline. That means I had to be not scared to talk. It don't mean that I didn't have to put my foot in my mouth. How many times we see some motherfucker on there be like, "Man, portraits are my thing. Today's portrait day, so I'm gonna shine." And it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
wah, wah, wah.
Dude, it's always those ones too. I don't know if it's just the way they shoot it or what. And I'm like, wow.
So you don't have to be scared to be that guy, though. You know what I mean? Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like every single time you imagine that if that person said, or any of those people said that at that time, then they probably also, the producers in conference with that person, just sitting with the one camera and the green screen behind them, that they're going to put the fireplace on or whatever, the bookshelf. And they say, "Okay, now tell us how confident you are." Every artist is probably saying their level of confidence in everything, and they just aren't using it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Giving them the idea or whatnot that they're,
Because they just put it like how they want it to fit together, really. How they.
yeah, yeah. But anyways, so that's, I don't know, to me that's kind of liberating. Really, it gives you the freedom to then go into casting and say whatever the fuck, because they're actually going to love it, even if you are contradicting yourself. Yeah, maybe they want to show somebody finally with dual personality syndrome. I'm the best tattoo artist in the world. Man, I hate how I suck so much, though.
Oh my
Anyways.
God. I know somebody who does that.
Oh yeah, we naming names.
Nope.
Okay. I don't know that I don't. There's everybody got a little that imposter syndrome, don't they? Do you ever what's the self-doubt that creeps into Cody Reed's head?
Well, I feel like most of my success strives from my fear of failing. So I would say, I don't know. I just don't know. Don't ever want somebody to be like, yeah, he's just not as good as he used to be or whatever the fuck. So
Mm.
I think if people think I have gotten better over the years, it's just because I don't want them to say I've gotten worse.
You wake up in a cold sweat with nightmares. Candace says, "What is it, honey?" And then you're like, "I think I had had a nightmare where I didn't improve." All right, that ain't you then. Good. There's no other like what is then the the desire to even be an artist? Is that also from some kind of desire to be perceived by people as having a strong technical ability or something, or being to see beyond anything?
No, I don't know. I just love art, and I
They
don't
tell you
think
you were
I
good at it
want
when you were a kid.
what.
When did you start? When did you start drawing? You love art.
Um, I started drawing portraits, I guess, when I was 11 years old.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
little young. And what, did people give you compliments right away?
my parents didn't say jack shit about it at all. They weren't very encouraging. I think if anybody in my family was encouraging about it, it would be mainly my great grandma and my great grandpa. And remember those old
Mhm.
TV commercials that used to come on, and it was like, if you think you can draw, call
Yeah,
this
draw a
number and we'll
pirate
send.
or draw this
Yeah,
turtle,
draw this
right?
like Bambi and draw this house and send it back and blah blah blah. So my great grandpa used to call those, and he would be like, "Well, I think my grandson can draw," and he would get these forms sent to us, and I would draw them, and he would send them back in, and they would always say that they would take me, but I wasn't old enough to get the
Okay.
grant or whatever the fuck it was supposed to be for. I don't even know what it was supposed to be for. Now I was just doing it because you could draw on it, you know.
Right. You're like
And
a little challenge. And it gives me, your grandpa had to be proud as shit of it then.
yeah, I think he was proud. I think he was probably one of the most proud people. But and then in school, it was just kind of whatever. I mean, people
Teachers encouraged it there,
people
or told you to stop drawing on your notebooks.
the teachers were always pretty encouraging. Dude, when I was in fourth grade, I used to draw naked ladies and sell them for $10 a pop to the other kids. Um,
Where were you getting your reference from? Were you just drawing women from the
my
Sears
mom.
catalog and then use your imagination, or what?
No, just I don't know. I guess well, my parents never really limited what we watched. Not that we were watching porn or anything, but we were
Mm,
watching whatever the fuck was on,
yeah.
and I just drew however I fucking guess I thought it was, and just drew them.
And it was worth how much money were you selling these for?
$10 to the other kids.
$10 for one drawing.
Yep.
I mean, for kids, that seems like it's almost pricey.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't gonna risk drawing naked ladies for nothing. I was in
Yeah,
fourth.
no, and you couldn't necessarily get to a copier and just run off several of them, huh?
Exactly. I used to have to draw it pretty much at school, and I'd have to dodge everybody else and the teachers all day to draw
So you couldn't really draw at home either. Your parents would find this and be disturbed or not.
them. They would not be very excited that I was drawing naked ladies, but they wouldn't care if I was drawing anything else. Because
Would
my
they be more excited though when they find out that you were actually being enterprising with it and be like, "Oh, okay, no, he's being an entrepreneur."
um, they I don't know. I guess I don't know. That's hard to say. My family's pretty weird. So I don't
Right?
know.
Yeah.
Um. Anyhow, where was I going with this? I was on a trail somewhere, and I got sidetracked.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to take you off point. I was excited to find out so much about the process of an 11-year-old drawing, selling, and naked women. Because one, that was the reason I not really a reason. It's what got me back into art. Like I used to do art when I was a kid, and I was excited because everybody would tell me, "Oh wow, it's a great Donald Duck," and then I never gave a fuck about it. Say when I 8 or 9. Actually, after my dad died at 10, and I didn't give a fuck about art for the longest time until I was like 13, 14. And then I was like, man, I want to draw, I want, naked pictures of women. So I think I need to learn to draw them.
Yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
I didn't try to sell them to other people though. It's pretty fucking genius, man.
oh yeah, I was drawing them, selling them. I mean, I figured why the fuck not? Somebody, it was probably somebody offered to buy one day, and I was like, cool, people want to buy them, so I'll
Yeah.
fucking sell them.
It certainly set the path for you to be a tattoo artist. You're
And
already
then,
trading your art for money. I mean, my mother would always explain to me that there was no money in art, that you could never make money by being an artist, and that Vincent van Gogh had only one ear and died penniless. She
yeah,
would
we
always
sure did.
remind you of that.
He did. I actually did a report on him in like fourth grade. In fourth grade about it.
Yeah, but you weren't
Oh,
scared
that's
to not.
probably
You were
what
like,
pushed
I
me to
won't be this
start.
motherfucker because I can draw
That's,
naked women.
that's probably what pushed me to start doing. I'm like, well, I'm fucking making money on my art. $10 a pop.
Yeah, fucking fuck you, suck it, Vincent. Millions of dollars at Sotheby's doesn't mean shit in your pocket, does it? You one-eared motherfucker. What's that? I couldn't hear you. Oh yeah, I could. I got two ears. Just pulling your ear. Um,
um,
no.
and then
God bless you, Vincent.
my my great grandmother, she was cool. She used to sit at the table and would still life let me draw her. She would just sit there and she would critique it after I got done drawing and be like, well, my nose looks fucked up or whatever. So I think that kind of was my first sense of needing to change things to make it look
Mhm.
better. You know what I mean? And then I don't
That
know that.
is that's really cool actually, because there's a level there that a grandparent or a parent, anybody of authority figure that you desired to please, you could have if she rode that too hard, says, oh my God, what the fuck did you do? That ain't what I look like at all, you piece of shit. Then you never pick up a crayon again.
Mhm.
But if she gives you the proper type of criticism and encouragement that you can improve, well, now you want to do another one right away almost.
Yeah, and that's what I was doing too, because I would just go back, draw portraits, and I would just start making them up. After I was drawing her so much, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I never was one of those people who would map out a face. I didn't do that oval, here's a line for the mouth, here's a line for the nose. No, I always did eyes, did the eyes, got them all done, moved on, did the nose, did that, went down, did the mouth, and then I built the head around that. You know what I mean? Like if I'm
Mm-hmm.
built it, that's just the way I work. And
I see
so
a lot of successful portrait artists, at least some of the most efficient ones, that will start around the eyes, and just be careful not to wipe away their stencil.
yeah, dude, as
Where
far as tattooing, I have to start. I don't know
where
anymore.
do you
I
start?
find
Mhm.
anymore. I like to do like a very very light outline on the whole thing, not like the whole thing, but I do like a light outline on like the edge of the nostrils and just like where the mouth opens, just like very fine, new outlines, just so that way if a stencil does come off, I'm
You
good for
got
the
it.
most part.
Yeah.
But I always start down at the bottom and work my way up still. When I do my color portrait, I always do like bottom to top with all my shadows and then do the midtones and the lights and work my way out. But I see people online that are doing like all kinds of colors fucking right by each other and they're not bleeding together or nothing. So I don't know what the fuck they're doing. You know what I'm talking
I
about? Do you ever see
I
that? And you're
do.
like, what the hell is this shit?
I seen Rember. He not that he was doing that exact, but I do know exactly what you're talking about. I'm very curious how it works because I have tried to do like a face before in color, like pinup face
Yeah.
in color, and then did a little black background off to the side, or I touched a piece of it up, accidentally wiped the wrong way, went right across the face. That girl is green faced for the rest of her life. Like, you
I
know what
think
I
it's
mean?
because maybe either I was wondering if maybe it's because the light pigment that gets affected either doesn't sit long enough to where those pores don't kind of shrink back up,
Mm.
or if it's because it just grabs the pigment because it's so light. You know what I'm saying? Like I find that if
You don't
it's
think that
something
they're
where I do
dabbing
it
it with their
lighter,
paper towel somehow, like where they're just like getting it up and then not wiping it, maybe?
I mean, I think it all kind of ties in together, honestly.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like for me, for the most part, unless I do like a real light flesh tone and then I do like a dark purple or something right next to it, pretty like right after I do that color, that's when I notice it. But if I do like a light flesh tone and then later on, probably a half hour later, I do that spot that was next to it or whatever, a
Mm.
period of time later, come
Yeah.
back and do that dark tone, then it doesn't seem to really get affected. It'll just kind of clean up.
Maybe that's the
So maybe
method
we're
that they're
working
using
too
as
quick,
well.
too close, like too,
Yeah. You got to give it some healing time.
yeah. So maybe if you do a light color, jump to a dark spot somewhere else, and then come back.
remember one time he did the bottom of this tattoo is just, color copy printed all the way up. And
Yeah.
then he put a piece of plastic wrap around it and tattooed over top of that piece of plastic wrap with like tape to hold it in place.
Yeah.
On the outside of the plastic wrap. So it probably moved down and he had to reapply throughout the tattoo. But that way he wouldn't wipe any old colors into that old tattoo.
See, and that's what's kind of pushing me into wanting to do like this 3-day weekend deal, just kind of fuck around with like those
To
large
learn those
scale.
processes.
Yeah, to figure out the whole process of it all, just because I've never had anybody committed and I've never been committed myself to doing that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it all changes now. That's why we got you on the platform.
Yeah, I
That's
really,
why
really like, dude, do you ever see those? I don't know where the hell they're from. I always like the ones that are super duper good and realistic. I always just assume they're from like fucking Europe, Russia, something like that, where they're just like fucking so much better than us as far as their art skills go.
yeah.
um,
You mean a
but like,
place that puts money into their art curriculums in their school
exactly,
systems?
that's what we
Mhm.
say.
That's what we said.
But anyhow, they
It's
do like these.
obvious. It's right. It can't not be more obvious that what you put your attention to will be your greater success. What you put your most interest into and your most money and resources behind. So amazing. We are amazing at football, a sport that no one else in the fucking world plays.
Yeah.
And we suck at art, a thing that allows us to see beyond the confines of social dynamics that might hold us back
Yes.
from achieving.
Dude, and
art
it
is language across
literally
the
is the
world.
most natural thing for everybody in life. And
Mhm.
I believe that you're the most artistic when you're like 2 to 6 years old, and it's whether or not somebody nurtures it in that time to encourage
Yes.
you to keep going and building
Yep.
off of that skill. You know what
A
I'm
lot of
saying?
kids
Yeah.
have the same abilities at young
Eh,
ages.
because, dude, all my kids, I don't know, I don't want to sound shitty or not, but like all my kids have always helped push them into doing art, not force them into it, but I've always encouraged it the best I feel like it can. And they're always drawn, and they all are said to be the top artists in their class because they try, you know what I mean? Like
We show them how to draw
they
things.
do it. I don't know how to describe it. They know what they want to achieve and they just go for it and they do it. They don't have
Am
that.
am I guessing that you fostered an era that was more like your grandparents as opposed to your parents' encouragement role?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of what I feel like definitely pushed me to be as encouraging as I could be, just because I don't know. When you are younger, you see the shit that your parents did, and you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And that was definitely one of them.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah. But sometimes when you have a family member like your grandparents, who I wonder if they're just like, man, this kid's got a lot of energy, and I don't have what it takes to pay attention to him. I'd like to take a nap. Let's just get him drawn. Give him a pencil.
Cody's chill. That was me.
Okay, that because that's what you were drawing on, or why
Me.
you were drawing. They were like, we can't keep up with this girl.
Yeah. Actually, my grandparents also really encouraged me to be artistic. My nana, who I was super close with my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
actually was pretty sensational at drawing, and she was always up to something, and we were always, I don't know, we used to decorate like these little wood constructed birdhouses. My grandpa would always assemble things out in his garage, and
And you
it was,
guys would do the decorations.
yeah. And so I was always very inclined to art as well, and
Mm-hmm.
my parents
I
worked a
love
lot
it
when I
because
was
my
younger.
grandmother fostered my art love of art more than say my mother would always tell me there's no fucking money in it. And my grandmother was like, yeah, here's a pencil. If you draw this well, I'll submit it to the newspaper. There's a little contest they would have in there.
Yeah. And my other grandparents that I was also very close with would every year for Christmas would get me the cool little click open art case where you get like your oil pastels,
Yeah.
watercolor.
I
Sometimes the
feel like
crayons
that
were a
was
wee bit waxy, but that got me pretty far, honestly. Like,
the period for like the
yeah,
age
it was like
groups
the
from like
90s.
seven. I don't know, older people who are like 70s up did more of that, like have to sit down,
Hands-on
entertain
encouragement.
yourself type stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
They were encouraged, and then the people after that were much more of the if I'm not gonna benefit from it, we ain't fucking doing it
Yeah.
type people, and then
Right.
now it's kind of coming back
Right.
to I don't know, man.
For the end of
I
the
think
feel
people
like
are getting more into art now.
and it kind of goes back to like my whole being creative and wanting to create things, and I feel like that's the most natural thing as to us as humans is to create and to do
Imagery.
stuff like that. And
Well,
to be
let's
able
talk
to,
about the religious ramifications of what you're saying then too. Not that they're so evident, but I like to think about the spiritual shit sometimes. And the name of your shop's Black Flame Rituals, so I don't think we're so far off. But when we create, aren't we also being most like
when you
God?
create, you're the closest to a god, I feel.
Exactly. And that's what we're saying. And that's kind of wraps into our entire point about how you are yourself, your own religious entity, because you are creating things.
And God does want you to create.
Yes. Who doesn't?
Satan. I don't know. Maybe Satan. I don't know. I'm just making shit up.
No.
Satan doesn't want you to create. I don't know. He's a very creative person, isn't he?
I think
I
so.
mean, I feel like
He made
does.
us all believe that
No one's
the
even
earth is
listening.
round. Good job, Satan. Way to go. And what's more, I found some people in life that I think their art is lying. Like
Is
you're just
lying?
really, yeah, they're just really good at it. My brother was one. My brother has always been so good at lying. Like, how are you not a salesman?
The art of lying.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some really good liars out there.
Oh yeah, he'd create a story, get you wanting to believe in it. He'd have you almost be feeling like you were the star in it too. Like I'm the protagonist. Awesome. So you realize this didn't even fucking happen. You're talking about my life, man. I live it. Moving on. Moving on from Satan to but sticking with, of course, grandparents, school, and art. Did you guys at one point you guys become involved in art at school as a virtue of the growth? You know, I mean that your grandparents fostered?
I had art class in school.
Yeah.
My art.
Did they encourage it there? Did the teachers see the black flame spark?
No, my art teacher hated me. My high school art teacher hated me, and she tried to send me to the principal's office every day. So me and my principal got pretty well acquainted, and we were cool. And me and her were not that cool.
Why do you figure? What did she not like about you?
Okay, well, I'll kick it off, and I'll say that my freshman year of high school, you had to pick out what you're drawing. Your sketchbook drawing theme was going to be. So everybody had to have a sketchbook, and you had to say what the theme of your whole sketchbook was. And mine was grotesque images and human deformities.
She didn't like that.
She did not like that. And I loved it because I was very much into like the old sideshow freak show thing, and I was into deformities and loved like drawing like Siamese twin, like conjoined twins, and like I don't know, people who like I used to watch Montel, and there was this one episode of Montel, and it was this person that came on, and they did all these prosthetics for people who had like were in the war and like they had a fucking eye blown off or like had some cancer or missing half their face, but they were like this
facial prosthetics. Yes.
Yeah, and you would just put it on and they looked legit as shit. So it looked like there was nothing ever happened if you were just looking at it on, you know.
But then they could remove this thing and there's a horror story there just waiting to be told.
I would be drawing these people who had like these scarred up faces or like had deformities, I guess is what you would call it. And
she hates it.
She did not fucking vibe with that whatsoever. And the next year
can I stop for a second and just say what a fucking cunt?
I mean, kind of. I was like, okay, stupid bitch. They like weren't doing anything bad. They were just people who looked like people, like
Right.
other people, bitch. They were just look like people who had a
Were
fucking rough
you
life.
weren't drawing them from a way that you were looking down on them. You were drawing,
No,
I can't imagine. You weren't like drawing people pissing on them like a little
no, they
fucking
were literally
Calvin
people
Hobbes.
who were like,
And then the band on top.
they were just sitting there, like posed, like kind of like
Mhm.
old Victorian type style portraits of people who had like facial deformities or whatever. Anyhow,
Had you found
fine with
these deformities somewhere? I mean, not really online. I don't think that existed so much, right? Had you found these deformities
no,
somewhere?
it
Like,
was just
okay.
things that I was thinking of in my head, John.
Yep. She hates you
And,
now.
and
Oh, fuck you,
anyhow,
cunt.
so also I will add that I was kind of goth, if you would call it that. So I wore like the black trip pants and
You think that
black
added to her
shirts and stuff.
disdain for you?
And I don't
Who
think
was
she
she?
vibed with that very well.
Well, who was she? What did she vibe with?
Um, she like just basic looking people, just
No.
regular
Okay.
fucking regular kids, and I was not it. Anyhow, so
I
she
get
was
it.
the
We
principal's
had
office.
two art teachers. One of them was down with art and he fucking loved it. And then the other one took it as her minor behind physical education. And so she was a physical education major. Like she loved that shit. She ran marathons, right? Like she's all into it, like full on. And she also does art. Well, as the programs go through school, eventually the art class keeps getting cut, and they find ways to cheapen. So now she's actually teaching the art class, although it's only her minor, and she loves running.
This lady was an interpreter for the U.S. Army at one point, and then she ended up being an art teacher somehow. So
Weird.
however you get there. But
So here's the
anyhow,
thing: if you're an artist, think about getting into teaching because it pays nothing, and but you could inspire a generation. You could save us from the abysmal hell that we are headed to as we continue to put all of our money in better football helmets for the high school team.
and anyhow, so this bitch used to send me to the principal's office every day. The next year, I told myself, you know what? Art class. It's literally fucking art class. It's gonna be my only class where I can do artistic stuff. Fuck this dumb bitch. I'm taking it again. That's why I told myself I don't give a fuck if she doesn't vibe with me. She's a goddamn teacher. She doesn't get to pick who's in her
Right.
class. You know what I mean? Fuck her. She's gonna have to deal with me, is what I figured. So I took her class again, and I was much more of the attitude of I knew that she didn't really like me, and it was just kind of I can push her with this, but I'm not going to be breaking the school rules, so I won't get in trouble.
Did
So,
you have to pick themes for the notebook that year or sketchbook that
yeah,
year?
and she literally had in her theme rules, her criteria rules, no
No,
grotesque images,
no. What a bitch.
and
Yeah. But here's the thing. What you determine grotesque, you fucking judgmental cunt. Excuse me to for a while, but I need to get on a soapbox. What you determine to be grotesque is another person's daily fucking reality. They wake up and they see that, and they deserve to be seen as much as fucking anybody. And you.
hello.
Oh, and I in my I'm sorry, I'm going on. I shut off my mic. But I, in my judgment, when I determine that this is grotesque, but it's somebody else's daily fucking life, then I'm making a judgment about that person. Whereas you are showing them just to be normal and to have a possible beauty that is unseen to the rest of the world. So that image is not grotesque. She is just a grotesque human being who cannot face the reality of the world she lives in.
Dude, that's pretty much exactly what I told her too. Okay,
Good.
so anyhow, and
She
then
deserves to know that. Fuck cunt. All right, I'm
that's
done
why she
calling her
didn't
cunt.
like me. Well, and that's why she didn't like me because I mean, I had to fucking explain myself, so I figured I would explain myself, and she didn't like getting explained to. So
Yeah. Well,
anyhow,
100% you were right. That's awesome.
then
Like people hate that even more. As you know
Rainbow
how much
Man.
the fucking Pharisees didn't like Jesus Christ. Was it Pharisees? Whoever the fuck guys were running the temple that day when the 13-year-old came over and started preaching, and they're like, "Who's this little fucker think he is? Sure doesn't know the word, but fuck him still." Anyways, moving on. Fuck that teacher. I'm done saying it.
Okay, so she told me, you should switch schools and go to the Saginaw Art and Science Academy because if you switch to that school, nobody's gonna look at you weird if you have a mohawk and wear pants like this, Cody. And also,
Mhm.
there is a tattoo artist there that grew up in Caro, but now he works at a tattoo shop in Saginaw, is doing very well. So you could always get a hold of him and start tattooing as a career, and you could probably do good with all your type of images you like, is what she told me. So I
This
was like,
is
cool, bet. I'll
now I
take
love
that.
her. What
I
the fuck?
will.
You had her as a villain. I had Cruella DeVille, and then you just come in and completely redeem her. Okay.
So I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna switch schools or anything like that, but I'm gonna look into this dude, and that's kind of what pushed me into wanting to be a tattoo artist. Is because this lady said I could probably make a career out of this.
Yeah.
So get away from me and go there and try to make that your thing. So I was like, cool, I'll do it.
I love it. I love and hate it. Now I have to take back some of the mean things I said about her. It's funny how those
She
things
was still a running bitch, and she legit. Okay, so
yeah, but
one of
those
these.
hurdles are sometimes so important for us. Like if you didn't take that class the second year, right? And if you didn't, you might have never known about tattooing, or at least it could have taken that much longer for you to have this direction, you know.
Maybe we'll see. Yeah.
You don't want to give her any credit, huh?
No, I just think she was a
Sometimes the
rotten,
hurdles.
nasty bitch.
Yeah, she's a rotten, nasty bitch, but so important in your life
Dude.
to make you a strong, capable artist.
So like one of the year finals was this big art show that we had to put on, and everybody in the art
Mm-hmm.
class had to do this art show. So I did this bald clown. It was a painting. It was a bald clown crying into his rainbow curly wig, and it was a painting of it. So it was just
Mm-hmm.
him kind of sitting in the corner crying. You saw the shit running down his face, and he was all bright, but he's all sad and crying and shit. So
Mm-hmm.
anyhow, I thought it was cool. And I liked it. And I said, here, this is my thing for the art show. You know, it was
Mm-hmm.
like, cool thing. Literally took it home. Day of the art show came, and I'm like, Miss Lalonde, because that was her name, Miss Lalonde, I still haven't seen my painting come back. Where's the painting at? It's supposed to be for the art show. She's like, oh, yeah, that
Uh-uh.
must be in my garage. I took it out and put it in the garage, but I must have
Oh,
forgot it. I'll put it back before the thing starts. And I was like, cool, whatever, bitch. And then I went home, came back because the art show was at 6 and school got out at 3 or whatever.
uh-huh.
Walked around and it fucking wasn't there.
Of course
So
not.
I was like, oh, where's the fucking painting at? And she was, oh, I left it at home. Sorry, I forgot, but I'll still give you credit for it. Don't worry, blah, blah, blah. So then fast forward, um, we have to go down to the principal's office because she sent me to the principal's office one day because I had a hoodie on that had like rainbow skeleton on it. It was like just a skeleton body and it was like different
Mm-hmm.
colors and shit. And she
That
told me I
bothered
had to
her?
take it off because it was a skeleton and that's a symbol of death and that's against the school codes because it was death. And I said,
Uh-huh.
you're going to tell me because everybody in the school's got a skeleton, we can't wear any skeletons on us because it means
Yeah.
automatic death.
Yeah,
When
and
we all got
besides,
a
it's a
skeleton and we wouldn't even be standing up right now if we didn't have one. And I
so what
can't
do we
wear
do
one
with
unless
I came to school and I had a picture of my x-ray.
So anyhow, I told her, I said, well, that sucks for you, girl, because I already went up to the principal because I told him you were going to pull this shit.
Yeah.
And he already approved me to wear this hoodie today, so I ain't taking it off.
Oh my
And,
God, yes.
and
So
she
now
sent me
you're
to the
being sent to the
principal's
office for
office,
being
and
insubordinate or what?
she called the
He's already your
principal.
homie here.
Yeah, she called the principal and said that I do this to her on purpose, that I'm out to get her. And then he scheduled us to have a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So me, her, and him are at this meeting. And this bitch literally
Is
lied
revealing
and
her
brought
colors.
up this clown painting that she never put in this art show. She brought it up and said this was one of her instances that showed her that I was out to get her. Okay, he's like, well, he did this painting for this art show, and it was a clown, and it was a beautiful, bright clown, and he put it in. And I graded it and gave it back to him, and he was supposed to put it in the art show, and then he gave it to me, and it was all demonic. So I couldn't even put it in the art show.
Wait.
She told him.
Had you changed it at some point then?
Never. I literally still hadn't even had the fucking painting. I don't think I've ever even got it back from her, ever.
Really? Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, that's when I, like, flipped out and said, you're a lying dumb bitch right in front of the principal. Yeah, I was stupid.
Well, then she got everything she wanted. Then she won. She knew she got you then, right?
Well, the principal literally laughed his ass off at what I was saying to her. And
I love this guy.
Probably about 2 years later, she did end up getting fired for basically being a rat bitch, is from what I've heard. But I obviously wasn't going to school then. But
right, being a rotten bitch to other people.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, man. Art may not be your you know, it might not be your thing. You don't teach it if it ain't your thing for sure.
Dude, and like how can you sit there and say this? Okay, she would tell me, she literally told me that my drawing grotesque images of people, or not grotesque, my human deformity drawings were trite and unoriginal, and she didn't like them. And she would sit there and tell us that we had to draw a fucking still life of a vase with strawberries and grapes with a guitar. And I said, how are you going to sit there and tell me that this is trite when I do something different every single time? And she's like, well, I'm just getting tired of seeing your nightmare drawings. And I'm like, oh, well, excuse me, bitch.
But that nightmare is somebody's daily life that you choose not to recognize, that you would avoid the aisle. If that person were walking down there with their deformity, that is their truest self, that is left from some horrific trauma, you are such a scaredy ass bitch that you would skip getting Cheerios that day because that motherfucker was in your aisle. You might even go and give up on all your, because you can't take fucking life, or you can't see, I don't know, those grace of God people.
Well, maybe she had a different outlook on it. Maybe because she was in military doing the, what I say, translating. Maybe she's seen some crazy ass warship before I didn't know. Maybe she's fucking seeing anything.
Right. Well, if you have a trauma that keeps you from properly performing your job.
But anyhow, she was a rotten bitch, and she tried to bring me down in a rude, nasty way. So fuck her. She looked like the goddamn penguin from Batman Returns, bitch, and I'm not even playing.
She looked like Danny DeVito?
Yeah, I ain't even playing.
Did you ever draw that?
Dude, no. Okay, so once I was drawing an angel, it was, you had to do this poster size drawing, and it was, you had to include a piece of architecture, a statue, and something else. I can't remember. But anyhow, so I did like these, I don't know, kind of fucking Roman looking statue arches, like these real pretty type arches that I found. I don't even know where they're from. And then an angel statue and something else. And I just called it like the Angel of Death. And it was her coming down this aisle, and it had like statues in the background. I thought it was cool. She didn't like it because I think just because of the title of it, I thought for sure the bitch would love it because it was a goddamn angel, you know?
Right.
And it was, she was wearing all white, so it wasn't even like she was like a crazy looking spooky angel or nothing.
Wait, you made it with her face though too?
No, listen here.
Okay.
It was a regular face of the angel, and then I tried to turn it into her, and I said it's called the Angel of Death, and she was like, "No, I already said no morbid images," and I was like, literally looking at it like, "Bitch, it's an angel walking."
You didn't say no morbid titles.
And I'm like, I don't even. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, what the fuck? And so then I was pissed. And then I went back to my desk and I drew the Angel of Death hanging on to Miss Lalonde's head. And then I got sent to the principal's office.
Ah, that's good, man. God bless. It sounds like I don't know, some cheesy like 90s movie, where the teacher fighting against the student
Dude, that's
running for
totally what it was.
faculty
It
or
was so
something.
stupid. That's totally what it was.
Now here's what I would want to get off of the fucking high school drama for a little bit, but I am having too much fun too. So let me ask at least one more question about this bitch, because I think I know that it existed. Because if there is this on one end of the spectrum, if there's the Cody Reed to this Mrs. Cuntface. I knew I said I wasn't going to say that again. It's bothersome to some people, like the word moist. You can only say moist if you mention Betty Crocker. So I'm mentioning Betty Crocker to say moist, but I'm trying to stop saying Mrs. Cuntface, but I'm having a tough time. Anyway, so Mrs. fucking Cuntface here. If there is on her spectrum the Cody Reed that she hates and detests with all her form and everything that she thinks about, she wakes up in the morning, she gets her cup of coffee, and she thinks, how will I fuck with Cody today? Literally. There is also then on her scale and her spectrum somebody that she is like, I love little Sarah and her rose her pictures, her little posy pictures with all the bright colors are my favorite.
Mhm.
Was there a little brown noser in the class that she loved the most?
Yeah, yes, but I'm not gonna say who it is.
Okay, but let's look at this relationship
'cause
as
they
we
were
also look
drunk.
at yours. Let's not name names, but so at the day that your clown that you've never gotten back from her is crying in her garage, literally, right? So the day you're at the art show, there is meanwhile a shrine built around somebody's fucking posies.
Yes.
There is. I knew it, right? Like you walk in and the very first thing you see is this grotesque, happy, fucking flowery, like putrid, no meaning in it whatsoever. Forget that life even exists picture.
Yes.
Well, expand upon that. I wasn't there.
Okay, well, I believe it was okay. The kid liked to draw. I don't know how to describe it. It was like the anime type Final Fantasy looking shit.
That's kind of what everybody else was drawing, but you. They were all doing like
Mm.
more cartoon style stuff.
No, I didn't like that.
Trite.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I don't know.
that's what all the other classmates were doing.
Let's see. You gotta
Yeah.
look at it.
Wasn't
In
a
that
kid.
time, I was like real heavy into like Marilyn Manson from like early 2000s, so like
Mm.
real raw, pushing boundaries, fucking hate religion and shit like that. And this person was very like always had a smile on their face, always drew like fucking these angelic looking people, and they thought that they were good as shit because I was drawing nasty dark stuff, but I wasn't boasting about it either. You know what I mean? Like I was
Right. But these
doing
people
my
are walking
shit.
around with platform shoes on, or
And
imagining that they were higher than everybody else.
I had platform boots.
You tall as fuck already, dude. So
Yeah, I know.
are you ducking to go through these
Dude,
through
I
these
used
hallways?
to wear like these chain pants, and I'd have these fucking platform boots on that made me at least between 4 to 6 inches taller. So I was like
when do
probably
you meet Candace? Is it around any of this time?
she already knew me then.
Okay, Candace, how much did you love him as soon as you seen him?
Literally immediately, pretty much.
Because I know you too, and you guys are such a perfect couple. And I feel like that. I feel like as soon as you saw somebody that's already that tall standing up on top of 4-inch platforms, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. To be fair, I knew Cody way before I knew who Peter Steele was.
Well, at that time, he didn't have the long hair either, did he?
No.
I don't know. In high school, it was like long enough, but that wasn't like
That was
it wasn't as long as it is now at all.
Right. You weren't looking like Peter Steele then.
Fuck no.
No.
What was Cody's dress then? This is all goth. So what are you, Marilyn Manson? You got shirts with your nipples cut out and all, or what?
No, bitch, that was me.
Oh shit! Back in those
Make me
times,
think about it.
dude, my mom, as a form of punishment if my grades got bad, would literally throw out all my black clothes and make me wear stuff from Walmart, which would be like carpenter blue jeans and like green hoodies and like colored shirts. That was my punishment, was to look like everybody else.
Oh, you didn't get good enough grades. You must assimilate.
Dude, legit, like this fucking teacher I had in 8th grade, we used to call your mom if you would get anything below a C. And it was some fucking test. I ended up getting a C minus, bitch. First one I ever even gotten. And she called my fucking mom. And as soon as she called my mom, I was pissed because I knew my mom's a fucking nutcase and would make a big deal out of it. So I get home from school. And my mom's like, yeah, your teacher called today. And I go to my room and all my clothes are gone. All my sketchbooks are gone. And on my bed is just a pile of colored clothes. You know, I was like, what the fuck is this? She's like, well, that's what you get to wear now. Because obviously you drawing these things and looking this way is now affecting your grades. And we just can't have that. Blah, blah, blah.
But we've determined that it is in your best interest.
She wouldn't have even like just bag them up and like move them somewhere. The bitch would actually get rid of them, like throw them away or burn them or something. So I was like, you fucking suck.
I think I understand. Were they religious at all though? They don't sound religious if they let you watch anything in the world.
Dude, fuck no. My mom, no, not religious at all.
Okay, just they knew that was still a bad path, despite not having the divine one in their ear.
I'm gonna say, if anything, my mom is just like small town minded, dumb. She only has a 9th grade education, homie. So she was just.
I got you.
I Dr. Phil at that point, probably. So she was like, "That's the answer. We got to correct this bad behavior."
Yeah, we have to get him in the Scared Straight program. You were probably one instance away from going away to a fake jail day.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know. I just always been into that darker type stuff. And I was pissed because my mom found like my stash of like ghoul drawings of like, I don't know, remember like on.
And threw them away.
Dude, she threw them away. My fucking drawings I was working on. I was pissed.
Now, what is the resolve from that? I feel like it is such a parenting faux pas. It's almost, you're almost forcing the kid then to be like, okay, but that doesn't change. Like my desire doesn't change because you did this. It almost fuels it. It almost makes me have to, it consumes more of my mind because now I have to be secretive about this portion of me.
Dude, I used to get to school and I would like put my eyeliner on when I got to school and have to wipe it off before I got out of school every day. And I would still fucking, I still did what I had to do to fucking represent how I wanted to represent myself.
This is like a schoolgirl that hikes her dress up when or changes her uniform when she gets off the bus or something. It's like,
Dude, that was all like the freedom I had, really, was about to dress the way I wanted to dress. And that was it, because my parents didn't let you leave the house even till like I got to leave my house when I turned 18. And that's when I moved out of my house.
Well, what do you mean? They had you on lockdown of some sort?
Dude, for real. Like my dad would leave. Like I got this truck and it was like a $500 78 F-150 custom I bought off the side of the road, and it had a rusted out hole in the passenger seat to where you could probably throw your garbage right out of the floor.
Yeah, so, good for transporting small amounts of marijuana, because you can just be like, no, I drove over something, but I wasn't smoking nothing.
But anyhow, so I bought this fucker, and it was pretty tight for a while there, except for it'd stall out when at its own leisure, really.
Mm-hmm.
And
$500, you can't ask for too much.
Exactly. So it got me from point A to point B. That's all I fucking needed. And my dad would pull the starter plug or whatever the fuck out of the thing, so the car wouldn't even turn over when he would leave my house.
For what purpose? Were you like tying the cat's tails together?
Dude, I never did
knocking over the trash.
No,
Were you
never,
smashing mailboxes?
never.
If you'd done all these things, I feel like they would have probably changed their attitude 100%. Like, Cody got caught smashing mailboxes with a baseball bat, him and his buddies. Kids will be kids.
No, dude, no, nothing ever. It was fucking bullshit. Like they would, I got caught smoking cigarettes, and that was it. And it was basically because, what my senior or junior year of high school, I started to be able to drive, so that's why I had my truck, and I would smoke a cigarette on the way to or back from school. But so I'd have to give my friend money to get me cigarettes. So they'd have to give me cigarettes, and which was fucking lame because at that point you're pretty much at the leisure of whatever the fuck cigarettes they give you and
Right.
whenever the fuck they give them to you, you know.
And what price did they determine you have to pay?
Yeah, exactly. So anyhow, getting my fucking cigarettes on my own dime, you know.
Your Durrells.
So
And you're spending more than you would for a pack of Marlboro.
My fucking dad goes when I come home one day, he's like, "Why are you fucking smoking on the way to work?" I'm like, "Motherfucker, I ain't smoking on the way to work. What the hell are you talking about?" And my windows on my truck used to, like the front ones in between the actual window and like that corner window thing, you could like flip it out.
Yeah.
I'd always flip it out and I'd ash out of that. Well, while I was doing that, it had little white dust marks from going back. And my dad fucking literally was out there and noticed that and fucking checked that. And that's how he said I was smoking.
Yeah. You gotta, well, now you know.
I'm like,
That's,
no.
you can, the sign of a smoker, he knew. That's the smoker's window is what you actually had there. That little vent, it always sucked out. It's because of the way it was designed. It was made for cigarette smoking.
I don't know what it was made for, but
well, I think it was also because it was harder for them to make glass that wasn't straight up and down. They didn't have the ability to retract the window with that curve as easy on the truck. Am I wrong about that? I feel like I'm not wrong about that. That was a technology that they developed, and then they could they didn't need that little side vent window.
No idea. I didn't have air conditioning, so it was tight because you could just pop that fucker open and it would just blast this fucking cool, nice summer air in it. Yeah.
Yep, I do know it was awesome design, and I don't know, and limit because of now technology is saw the end of it.
Was dirty as a motherfucker. You could go up and punch that fucker in the side of that truck, and you'd probably break your hand before you dented that bitch. It was so fucking It was like that old war time fucking material.
Solid. But it also didn't have a starter because your dad was pissed about you smoking cigarettes. So he determined that you should have to exercise your lungs and walk to school now. He was like, this is healthy for him. I can see his parental logic now. He was like, if he can't get the car going, what did you do? Did you ever just figure out what he was doing and put the starter back on? Starter plug. I don't even, that had to be, what wire? He's taking the distributor cap off or something, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just something that he could, this motherfucker would literally take it with him. He would just pop it off. And it was something that must have been able to fit in his hand, and he would just take it with him.
All right. It might have been the center wire to your distributor coil.
Because I fucking looked all through his garage once trying to find wherever the fuck it could have been, but I don't know jack shit about vehicles, so I don't know what the hell I would have been looking for. And at that time, all we had was like fucking dial-up internet. So here you are sitting in the house for half hour trying to figure out what to look on YouTube, and then by that time the fuckers are rolling in the driveway back to where the fuck they were.
YouTube and what did my dad take to make my car not work?
Yeah, no shit.
Sad. Well, I mean, I feel like that's to me, it keeps sounding like you had these awesome stories of resistance to a simply benign desire that you like. It didn't seem like it was harming anybody else, but so many factions scared of the direction you're going worked to make sure that you knew fucking advanced trigonometry or whatever more important than what you were going to do for the rest of your fucking life.
Yeah, no shit.
Exactly.
Of interest. Like, you are not fitting in a round fucking hole. Listen, gotta cut these edges off. cut them off. And we know exactly how to do it. But it seems like they just made you more oblong, more, it gave you more ridges,
Yeah, so
more
definitely
texture.
gives me an idea of how people like you to be, but also a sense of how I don't have to be that way.
Do you have a large feeling of success then in your life story when you look back on stories like these?
Well, in the most part, me living my day to day, that I forget obviously all of this shit that I'm bringing up now. So
Mm-hmm.
looking back, it's just obviously fun to see how things have definitely changed since then. But
Yeah, because as much as they might have protested against everything that you were, all of those protestations might have been completely worthless. Not just I mean, worthless to your life, but also to their own. It gave them nothing but an outlet of anger. And maybe they needed that, but what we know about, your psyche and shit is, they didn't need that. That wasn't a positive outlet for them. They could have just looked at your grotesque images and said, you know what? I choose to find something beautiful in this. And I bet it's the same thing that we share now. You must see something beautiful in this. Now I can see the beauty in it.
I think that's the thing that always keeps me with it, doing stuff like that, is because I didn't see them as weird or unsightly or gross or anything. I saw them as like interesting, but the fact that it stirred up so many different people to look at something that was natural really, I think, pushed
Mhm.
me more than anything.
So
You know what I mean?
did you realize that then too, or is that how you see it now in your better, understanding of art? And let me pull you in a little bit closer to the mic as you answer too, please.
I feel like I kind of saw it at that point. It's like a little kid with like that bug standing in front of you. That's like, I'm not touching you with it. You know, I
Uh-huh.
just feel like it was, I don't know, it was something that I didn't feel like was bad, but I was getting treated like it was
Yeah.
stepping up to that line and you couldn't stand over that line. So I wasn't stepping over the line, but I was pressed right up against that bit.
And because they still had tried to act like other parts of you were over the line. I love it. I don't know. To me, I just can't stop loving it. Your story here. So others of us might have more success in in the people supporting us, in our art because of our technical ability or whatever. But I love that. First off, what a great juxtaposition, right? Of highlighting something that is a normal day-to-day life but not I mean, it's grotesque, but only to you because of your stance and your fear. It's
Exactly.
highlighting somebody's fear. And then what a better thing to pull the elephant into the room than more and what is art when you really examine it throughout the history? It has never been the fucking the fucking Happy Roses painting, the fucking guitar, still life has never moved any. You don't find
They
that
don't
in
make
the
you
art
feel
museum.
anything when you look at that. You know what I mean? I guess to me, you
Hmm.
don't feel nothing when you look at just the fucking painting of a guitar and the fucking bass on the table. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't. I never.
yeah. I feel like still life should not be referenced or defined by still,
Yeah,
meaning that
exactly.
this and life, because it should just be saying, even though these are completely useless, ineffectual things that cannot draw any emotion to them, whatever, it's still part of life. I'm just saying, it's still there. Just saying.
Kyle,
That's
I'm
what it should
gonna
be.
put you off. I do have to go and pick up my kids from school.
Perfect. At that point, then I know that I've stayed too long and said too much. We should wrap this up. I'm having a blast with it because I didn't figure this would go that further into your high school life. But
Sorry about that.
you got a movie waiting to happen. So I'm completely. I don't know if it was John Waters directing this one, but it could be a little zanier maybe. But I don't see you as not a John Waters character. It
Uh,
could be a John Hughes though too. Like Pretty in Pink style.
yeah, John Waters or that is fine.
We'll go with one of the Johns. All right, go pick up your kids, brother. Thanks for being a part of this, and
Thank you so much.
and thank you as well, Candace. We'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.
Love
ya.
you. We'll see you guys later.